Welcome back. Three men hope to get the Republican Party nomination for sheriff in Williamson County. We've talked to two of those men already this week. Today, Cecil Todd Emery is here to discuss more on his qualifications. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Kevin.
Start off and tell us a little bit about Cecil Todd Emery.
Well, Cecil Todd Emery has a variety of career options that I've had in my life. I've worked a lot of different places. I've been in law enforcement for right at 9 years. I was a chief of police in Pulaski for 2.5 years, a little over 2.5 years.
And what are you currently doing?
Right now I'm a patrolman in Olin, and I'm out campaigning full-time.
And we talked before you got on this morning. We're not pulling a fast one here. We're not trying to lambaste you or anything, but there is a website out there that has some pretty harsh allegations leveled against you, and it's a blog spot, and we want to get your reaction and set the record straight. It details a 2000 arrest and then a 2006 arrest for a violation of a protection of order. So I'd like to hear your response to that.
Well, unfortunately, sometimes in politics, Kevin, a lot of people like to use smear tactics and only tell the half-truth of stories. The 2006 incident, I was the victim of that incident. I was never arrested for a violation of order of protection. That was the other person that pled guilty to that. The state's attorney never filed any charges on me on that issue and agreed and said that I committed no crime. And the 2000 incident, there was a small incident there years ago where a little scuffle happened and a picture frame got knocked off of a wall in a place, and the picture frame broke, and I paid for the picture frame. I took my responsibilities. You know, everyone's made some mistakes in their past. I feel like I took my responsibilities and paid for the damage. It was a picture frame, and I've learned from those responsibilities and moved on. Unfortunately, I have one opponent who is using Chicago scare tactics and trying to smear me, using me in a different motive, trying to make people think something in 2006 was an issue when he knows very well that I was the victim of that crime.
Now, you were arrested, though, in 2006, yes, because there is a mugshot that's also out there.
Correct. That was expunged off my record. The state's attorney filed no charges on that. I was arrested in 2006, but it was not for a violation of order of protection. Someone claimed that it was phone calls for harassment, and when the phone records went into the state's attorney's office, they saw no evidence of any of that.
Do you see, though, that voters might get the perception that even though you were expunged of those charges, that could be an issue as far as your abilities to perform as sheriff? Absolutely.
It's a concern, and that's the reason I believe in transparency. You know, I'm the only candidate that has put my home phone number on everything I hand out, and I, tell anyone if they have any questions, if they want to know the truth about Cecil Todd Emery, call me. Call me at home. I may not be at home. I'm out doing a lot of door-to-door campaigning. I will return your phone call, and I'll tell you the truth. That's one thing that sets me apart from some of the other candidates. We have a failed politician that wants to use, like I said, those Chicago scare tactics and smear someone when he knows it's not true.
And then also, let me get your take on what in your opinion is the biggest challenge facing the county, and how are you going to tackle that?
Well, that's a great question. I've been asked that numerous times by different reporters, and I think the biggest challenge right now Williamson County faces is unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing, new record highs of unemployment throughout the country, and right now we're at about a 10% rate, I think, in Williamson County, 12% rate in Franklin County, and from that, it stems of people, they need someone in that office who can understand. This is a public relations position. It's not about running out and writing as many speeding tickets as you can write.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple opponents that for their whole life, they've worked in the public sector, and all they've done is sit behind the, driving wheel of a squad car. I've worked in different positions. I've worked those weekends in factories for 12-hour shifts on the weekends, and I'll be able to relate to people of Williamson County. You have to listen to the residents of Williamson County and be able to understand their needs.
All righty. Cecil Todd Emery, one of the three candidates running for the Republican nomination. Thank you so much for being with us and answering the question.